Ni un muerto más. Ni un muerto más. Nueva asamblea. Nuevas elecciones ya.
My name is Steve Zeltzer. I'm with the United Front Committee for a Labor Party, and we're here at the Francisco Peruvian consulate, and we're here today to demand an end to the massacres that the government, the military government, the coup has brought to Peru, and to demand that these massacres stop, and also that the United States, President Biden and Secretary of State Blinken, and the other U.S. military get out of Peru. We believe that they were involved in the coup in Peru. And it also follows up the coup that the United States did in Bolivia. So why did this coup take place? Why did this coup take place? Well, the coup took place because the United States government wants the wealth and resources of Peru. They want the lithium, they want the natural resources, and they want to take it. They believe it belongs to them, like Cheney said that Iraqi oil belonged to Americans. You know, that was what Cheney said. The same thing with Peru. Peru has a long history of struggle, of working people, of peasants, of small business people, and we need to organize in the United States to demand that the shootings stop and that the U.S. military get out. And I learned yesterday from Lucretia about the fact the United States has many military bases in Peru. When you talk about the United States, there are 800 U.S. bases around the world. And what are those bases for? Those bases aren't for the protection of America, the American people, they're protection of the resources of the world. That's what those bases are. So we're saying all U.S. bases out of Peru. And also we are saying that the AFL-CIO, National Endowment for Democracy, is heavily involved in Peru. And we demand that the AFL-CIO stop supporting coups. They stop taking the $75 million a year that they get from the National Endowment for Democracy. Imagine the U.S. government is giving the AFL-CIO $75 million for international operations. What are these international operations about? Are they about protecting the workers of Brazil? Hell no. Are they about protecting the people of Peru? No. So we're going to continue this fight for solidarity, and we demand that these massacres end, that the shootings kill. The military should go back to their barracks, and the people of Peru have a right to decide how they want to be organized and how they want to live. So hands off Peru. Welcome, Lucretia.
Good morning. Thank you for coming and showing support for the people of Peru and Latin America and South America. As you probably know, the crisis and unrest that has taken over the country, which started on the 7th of December, has claimed by now, confirmed 46 deaths. Just on Tuesday alone, 18 people were killed in one town of Juliaca, in the southern part of Peru, the region of Puno, which is the border with Bolivia. Previous to that, the regions of Andahuaylas in Abancay, in Arequipa, Ayacucho alone had 10 people killed on the same day. Ica, La Libertad, we are seeing killings all over the country. Ucayali in the Amazon region. So what had happened in the country is that the right-wing, literally the right-wing parties, which are really not parties but clubs, they supported and advised and trained by the United States government through its different organizations, being the USAID, being the National Endowment for Democracy, being the Embassy of the United States in Lima, being the 8 military bases that the US has in Peru alone. We all thought that Colombia was the one with many, many bases in South America, but Peru has 8. And also has a biological center that was finally built in 2018 in the region of Amazon, which is the northern Amazonian region. It is clear because of the changes that have been going on in South America that the United States does, the imperialists, the Yankee imperialism will not allow South America to be let out of their hands. And Peru is the way in, strategically placed in the middle of in the center of South America, in the middle of the Pacific, and with entrance to Argentina, Brazil, Bolivia, Colombia, Chile, Ecuador. You can just get there from Peru all over to all over South America. So as the governments have changed and the progressive forces have taken on South America, the grip of the right wing and the U.S. in Peru has increased, incremented. It's now worse. This year, 2023, these are the nuances that probably we don't pay attention to. Yes. And so this year, 2023, there would be the 30 years of contracts that Fujimora dictatorship signed when they took over the country in 1992. And the reason for the extreme violence and the decision to kick out Castillo and repress the people forcibly is because they need to resign, they need to extend these contracts. Mining contracts, port contracts, Machu Picchu contract, gas, oil, they need to be, for them, for the benefit of them, they need to be extended this year. And that is the basic problem in the country. Now, I have to be clear and real, there is no strong political left party that can lead the resolution of this. But the people themselves, the comunidades, the Aymaras and Quechuas, and the indigenous Achanicas, they have come out and they are going to Lima. They took a pause for the holidays, and now they are again on the streets. They have come, around 50,000 Aymaras came down to Cusco, to the city of Cusco yesterday. And one of their leaders was killed premeditately. And most of the leaders of the comunidades are being right now arrested. The Frente de Defensa de Ayacucho, the leader, the Secretary General, Lucero Leandro, was taken yesterday by the police. This is as the Prime Minister of the country, who is actually the one that is leading the country, and Dina is just a puppet. Dina Boluarte, the president, is a puppet. She has no way out. She has to stay there. So Otárola, the Prime Minister, has been very clear yesterday. They can't give up. Dina cannot resign, because if they resign, the whole thing crumbles and comes down. And that cannot happen. And that probably will happen because more and more today, organizations and ministers, a couple of ministers resigned yesterday, and more regions are demanding that Dina Boluarte resigns and goes. I want to again thank you, and I appreciate that we continue with this, because not only the people of Peru needs it, not only we need to stop the death, no más muertes, ni uno más, but we also need to make sure that the United States somehow gets out of the region. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Say something in Spanish?
Seguro. En nombre de Colectivo Causachum y de El Nuevo Perú por un Buen Vivir, les quiero agradecer, y en nombre del Perú, les quiero agradecer la solidaridad y la lucha que mantenemos con nuestros hermanos y hermanas de Sudamérica y Latinoamérica. A todas ustedes y ustedes que han venido a mostrar el repudio a la ahora dictadora Dina Boluarte. También queremos mencionar que esta situación de golpe, de dictadura en realidad pseudo congresal, es una situación que se ha venido dando muy seguido en Sudamérica. Lo hemos visto en Paraguay, lo hemos visto en Honduras, lo hemos visto en Bolivia, en fin, la intentona en Ecuador. Se ve en todos los lugares. Esta vez en el Perú resultó nuevamente, con sangre, con fuego brutal, a las comunidades indígenas del país, tanto aymara como quechua como ayanica. Y es nada más y nada menos que no es la pobreza nuestra lo que atrae la violencia, sino más bien los recursos naturales que tenemos en el Perú. Oro, plata, cobre, zinc, litio, gas, petróleo. Y el tercer país en diversidad de flora y fauna en el mundo. Somos un país virgen, somos un país rico con mucha gente pobre, donde los extranjeros, las corporaciones, los gobiernos, mal llamados democráticos y progresistas, son los que vienen a nuestro país y se llevan todo y no nos dejan nada. Y esto debido a la Constitución de Alberto Fujimori, dada en el año 1993, donde no le permite al Estado crear ni tomar riqueza de sus propios recursos, sino más bien como extranjero tú llegas al país, tienes un pedazo de tierra, se te concede para explotar y lo que encuentres debajo es tuyo. Ni siquiera se te cobran impuestos. Te agradecemos por tenernos como esclavos. Esa es la situación en el Perú. Y por eso es que es en este momento la represión que se da de los 48 muertos a través del país. La gente no ha cesado. La ciudad de Lima estuvo levantada hasta las 12 de la noche, 1 de la mañana anoche. Esta mañana otra vez las regiones del norte, sur y oriente del país están caminando hacia Lima, esperan llegar la próxima semana. La solidez del gobierno se resquebraja. Ya varios ministros han renunciado a sus puestos y demandado que Dina se vaya y haya nuevas elecciones. La gente quiere nuevas elecciones ya y una asamblea constituyente, porque nuestros derechos como peruanos no existen bajo la Constitución peruana. Nuevamente les quiero agradecer por estar acá y mantener la presión, no solo en el gobierno del Perú, que está representado en este edificio, sino también en el gobierno de los Estados Unidos. Gobierno que arrebata, independientemente del partido político en el que estén, arrebata nuestros recursos, arrebata nuestras vidas y produce lo que se llama la gran masiva inmigración, porque nuestros países son destruidos por su mano dura. Gracias al United Labour por haber llamado a este rally, a esta reunión, a este piquete, a esta protesta frente al consulado del Perú. Gracias a ellos y a ellas, porque finalmente podemos reunirnos y reencontrarnos también nosotros, los peruanos y las peruanas, y las amigas y compañeros de Sudamérica. Muchas gracias. Gracias.
Biden, Obrador, and the Prime Minister Trudeau were recently in Mexico talking about immigration, the big immigration problem. And what we know is that these coups create migration. They force the people of Latin America and Central America to come to this country. It's directly the result of U.S. military intervention and coups in Central and Latin America. That's why people are forced out. So this immigration crisis is made in the United States by the Democrats and Republicans, but they won't talk about that. The reason they won't talk about that is because they represent the multinationals who want to steal the wealth of Peru, who want to steal the wealth of Bolivia, like Elon Musk, who wanted the lithium and admitted that he supported the coup in Bolivia. These are the criminals, the bloodsuckers that run this country and destroy the people of the world. They create these massacres. They create these deaths by their need for profits and exploiting the people of the world. We have to end that. We have to stop it. And we have to build in the working class a movement to stop U.S. military intervention around the world, to shut down the U.S. bases in Peru, in Bolivia, and every other country around the world. We need a battle here against the rulers who are attacking the working class here in this country. Homeless, people sleeping in the streets, people not able to get health care, but they don't have money for that. They have money for Ukraine, more money for wars around the world. That's a business, the military-industrial complex. So our next speaker is Charles Minster, who's a retiree from the Laborers Union.
U.S. out of Peru and all of Latin America. This government, since its inception, has decided that the Western Hemisphere is theirs. Why? Because they want that raw materials that the Western Hemisphere has to give them to produce their profits. They claim democracy. They're bringing democracy, overthrowing governments and bringing democracy, quote unquote. We have no democracy in this country. Only 0.5% of the population of this country controls this country. And they're the richest, the billionaires, the bankers, the hedge fund managers, the corporations. That's who runs this country. And that's who dictates everything. That's the democracy of the rich. That's what they're very proud of, that democracy of the rich. And this is the last stronghold of unbridled capitalism. And they're fighting against the world. They're moving towards war with China. They've created this Ukraine-Russia conflict to weaken Russia. Meanwhile, the arms industry is making billions after billions of dollars. In Latin America, not only Peru, but Bolivia, Colombia, Venezuela, anywhere that they have raw materials to exploit, they're going to topple that government if they can, because they want control of those raw resources, period. That's their game. And so the AFL-CIO, which they've been under the control of the Democratic Party for the last 50 years. They don't do a goddamn thing unless the Democratic Party approves it, and they do whatever the Democratic Party tells them to do. So they're down there doing the dirty work for the American government under the rule of the Democrats, and they'll do it under the rule of the Republicans as long as they get some money from the coffers. That's how this bureaucracy that runs the trade union movement is just nothing but a donkey for this political system and economic system. So they'll continue to subvert governments in South America and help destroy left-wing trade unions under the rule of this government. And that's what we're facing right now. And as Peru, as the comrade said earlier, there's not a party there capable of organizing and directing this uprising, which is there, especially amongst the indigenous peoples. The uprising is there, but it doesn't have that leadership. That's what we need in this country too. We need a leadership, a political leadership that can direct our anger and organize us. Not only the working people, but all the oppressed of this society. We are the majority, and we need that desperately in this country as they do in Peru and throughout the world. And that could be our main aim. That's the quicker way we can help Peru, is by having a political party in this country that wants to fight for power and fight for the freedom of nationalities around the world. So thank you very much. U.S. out of Peru, U.S. out of Latin America.
Struggle is not just about Peru, as our brothers and sisters have been saying. This is about really the people of the world. The people of the world having the freedom to live their lives, have the freedom to have the resources that are in their country. so the United States and the multinationals this government represents don't grab these resources and loot these resources for the profiteers. Our next speaker is Cristina Gutierrez.
USA out of Peru now.
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 We need to understand that all this is the work of United States of North America imperialism. The people of Peru have been fighting for years for freedom and liberation, as well as the people of Colombia, of Chile, of Argentina, of Iraq, all over the world, in Latin America, Asia, Africa, the Caribbean, and the Middle East. We've been fighting for many years. Some of us are political exile here. We didn't come for money. We came because we were persecuted in our countries for the political beliefs that we had, because we wanted our country to be free from this country that has come to destroy the hopes and dreams of the peoples of the world and our people. So our duty, that's why I'm involved in the working struggle of the people in this country, because we had to defeat this country if we are going to be able to win freedom in our countries, to get rid of people like Dina Asesina, right? The new so-called president that they installed in Peru. To get rid of all those right-wing people that had destroyed the hopes and dreams of our people, but they keep fighting. I am so happy when I see the struggle of the peoples of Peru. I said victory to the people of Peru. Let us all say victory to the people of Peru. Victory to the people of Peru. We're not going to decide what's going to happen in Peru. The Peruvian people are going to decide what happened in Peru. But we can decide what happens here and stop them from what they're doing over there. This is our job, our duty, brothers and sisters. We live in the belly of the beast. We live in the belly of the beast. And they are the ones who are doing this over there. So we need to confront this government. And we need to tell them to stop immediately interfering in Peru right now. To stop right now immediately. We need to denounce them. And we need to denounce this government of Peru, obviously, because they sell out. That woman, Dina, sell out. Traidora, asesina, Judas, la Judas, que vendió a su patria, vendió a su compañero de lucha. Eso es lo que nosotros estamos hablando. Pero el pueblo de Perú resolverá la lucha del pueblo peruano. Eso lo tenemos nosotras las madres que venimos, vamos a la policía, siempre venimos aquí hoy porque la policía de allá está matando a la gente de allá del Perú. Y nosotros protestamos ante eso, por la justicia y por el amor. Pero yo sí quiero decir con todo mi corazón que nuestra obligación, hermanos y hermanas, es confrontar el imperio norteamericano. Demandar que salgan de nuestros países, porque si ellos no estuvieran allí no habría ninguna Dina asesina, no habría ningún golpe de Estado que pudiera triunfar allá, porque la gente lucha. Si no, miremos los videos de lo que está pasando en Perú. Miremos esa realidad de un pueblo que está luchando y demandando, y nosotros debemos apoyar esas demandas. Tenemos la obligación, porque son demandas de libertad. Pero nosotros tenemos la obligación de luchar contra el imperialismo yanqui. Tenemos que luchar aquí en este país, que pare, y debe ser una lucha constante, no de cuando pasa algo, no de un día y 2 días, sino de todos los días. You know, we have an obligation to struggle against what's going on here. And it's not a struggle of one day. And when something happens, it's an everyday struggle, brothers and sisters, to overthrow this goddamn system so they stop destroying the people's hopes and dreams all over the world. This is our duty, this is our job. Do I sound too radical to you?
No.
I hope I sound, that you understand that that's what's needed to be done. Let's stop playing games with the life of our people. Let's stop playing games with the life of our people, the struggle of our people. We need to fight in this country. I thank Steve for organizing in the group that he has organizing this event, and also about Julian Assange and so many other struggles that nobody cares, that nobody raises a voice. I'm so thankful that somebody's doing it, and that we will continue this struggle. I am asking all of you, brothers and sisters, if you feel for the people of Peru, confront this government. Demand that the United States of North America stop interfering in Peru, in Colombia, in Chile, in Latin America, in Asia, that they stop murdering children in Palestine. We need to confront this system that is corrupt and impossible. No es solo mi país, es el mundo entero. It's not only my country, it's the whole world that we're talking about. Es no Colombia solamente, no es Perú solamente, es el mundo, compañeras. Es el mundo, no es solo El Salvador, no es solo Nicaragua, es el mundo que está en peligro. Estamos en medio de un movimiento fascista que está haciendo todas estas porquerías. We are in the middle of a fascist move of this country to do this thing, and we must confront this system. I thank the Lord and everybody else, and Steve and everybody else, that we're here together fighting for this justice. Here in the middle of the rain, I was saying, I was talking to my compañera Adriana, saying, you know, people are afraid to come and get wet in the rain while people in Peru are dying for the freedom. We should think about that. Victoria al pueblo peruano. Victory to the peoples of Peru.
Victory to the people of Peru.
Victory to the peoples of Peru.
Victory to the people of Peru.
Victory to the peoples of Peru.
Victory to the people of Peru.
U.S. out of Peru now.
U.S. out of Peru now.
U.S. out Peru now.
U.S. out of Peru now.
Thank you, brothers and sisters.
This is an international struggle, as Christina says, and this is also the 50th anniversary of the U.S.-supported military coup in Chile, where thousands of people were killed, thousands of workers were killed, and the U.S. re-engineered to destroy Chile, to destroy their pension plan, to privatize it, to steal the wealth of Chile. That is what this is all about. That's why the United States is in Peru and Chile and Colombia and all the other countries. They're not for the people, they're for the to grab the resources, to grab the wealth, and they don't give a damn about the people of Peru, the people of Chile. They don't care that people are being massacred. They could care less. They have blood on their hands. Biden and the Democrats have blood on their hands. They are spending billions for more wars in Ukraine. 60 billion. They make money. This is a war machine that profits from death, that profits from selling weapons to the military in Peru, the military around the world. Today, Biden is meeting with Kishida, the Prime Minister of Japan, because they want to surround China and have a war with China. Again, about profiteering, about stealing the wealth. Our next speaker is Alex Dillard. He's with the League of Young Communists. Welcome, Alex.
Martin Luther King pointed out that the United States government is the greatest purveyor of violence in the world today. This time the CIA, the U.S. State Department, have weaponized their NGOs and the Peruvian right wing, which they have connections with, to launch a Senate-backed coup against President Castillo. The United States has had a history of launching coups in Latin America, in Chile, in Argentina, and in Peru itself previously with the previous Fujimora. We stand here in solidarity with the protesters in Peru and demand down with the political coup, restore President Castillo, U.S. out of Latin America, U.S. out of everywhere.
Another U.S. struggle supposedly for democracy is Puerto Rico. And in 1889, the United States said that they had to fight for democracy in the Philippines and Puerto Rico and in other countries. And since that time, Puerto Rico has been a colony of the United States. And the United States has been attacking the people of Puerto Rico and exploiting the people of Puerto Rico. Our next speaker is Ricardo Ortiz, who's a fighter for labor for working people in Puerto Rico. Welcome, Ricardo.
We are standing right here in solidarity with our brothers and sisters in Peru. And we do so because our brothers and sisters have been oppressed since the Spanish Empire came to the Americas to murder indigenous people and bring slaves and exploit African slaves. And then in the 19th century, when the continent was rising against the Spanish imperialism, the British imperialism and its multinationals came to influence and interfere in South America and in the rest of Latin America. And in the 20th century, the emerging Yankee United States imperialism, it is in our continent exploiting our working class, peasants, and indigenous people. The country of Peru is rich of natural resources, like a previous comrade mentioned. And one of the key resources that is used for manufacturing things for war and technology is lithium. It's lithium. And you find that in abundant amounts of quantities in Bolivia, in Argentina, in Peru, and in the Congo, in Africa, which is another country exploited by the rapacious European and American multinationals. What is at stake right here is who is going to have the control of these resources. And we say it should be the working class and the peasants of Peru. The poor people of Peru. Comrades and friends, we got to organize internationally with labor revolutionary parties. We cannot depend on liberals, on reformists. Vladimir Lenin, the great revolutionary, said, reforms are so serious that you cannot leave reforms in the hands of the reformists. And he said, we have to take power. The working class has to build a party to take power and nationalize all that property and put all those gusanos in Miami keeping company, the Cuban reactionaries, where they belong. The people of Peru should stay governing by a workers' government, by a socialist government, performed by a revolution, a workers' and peasants' revolution, built a worker state. Now, the ugly hand of Yankee imperialism was seen by none other than the ambassador. The ambassador of the United States in Peru is a former Central Intelligence Agency agent. This is public knowledge. And before the coup, the Ministry of Defense met with the American ambassador, who is a career CIA former official, supposedly former official. Those American diplomats, what they do in the third world is doing intelligence and military interference. Let's say it like it is. Now, in the continent, the people have illusions. People think that we can coexist and cohabit with capitalism. No, comrades, we gotta get rid of this system that also rules us right here in the belly of the beast. And some people have mentioned before me that there are two parties of capitalism. And I say no, there are only one party of the ruling class, and that's capitalism, and has two wings. One liberal wing is the Democrats, and the conservative wing are the Republicans. Both of them are parties of the capitalists. Both of them are parties of the rich. Such is that the Walton family, the owners of Walmart, one of the exploiters of child labor in the world, The Walton family donates money to both the Democrats and the Republicans. Guess what? Elon Musk, that reactionary monster, he voted for Biden in the 2020 elections, and then now he's supporting the Republicans. They have no principles, and these political parties, they do support the class that rule over us, and the class that we gotta get rid of them, that we have to get rid of them. So, right here in the belly of the beast, we say, U.S. out of Peru. But also I want to end telling you these other things, a couple more sentences. The United States is the main imperialist country that is exploiting Latin America. But they are not alone in this. Our supposedly Pacific neighbor in the north, Canada has in its headquarters half of the multinational mining companies in the world. Actually, an important Canadian company that is doing exploitation in Peru is Manhattan Minerals. Also, the European Union. Actually, the European Union is competing with the United States in Peru. The Spanish Repsol company, Repsol, is exploiting in Peru, Banco Santander and many other octopus exploiting multinational companies. So we gotta get rid of them, and they're doing the same thing throughout Latin America. Down the United States. Get out of Latin America, United States. European Union, out of Latin America. Toward a world without frontiers for a revolutionary victory of the working class in Peru. Thank you.
And this is an important demonstration, and it's going to be shown all over the world, that there is solidarity with the Peruvian people, that we have to stop these massacres. And people of the United States are going to organize to stop this coup. And to stop the repression, the massacres that are going on. We have to unite, however, with the people, the rest of the people of Latin America and around the world. The communities in San Francisco and in the United States, the Chilean communities, the El Salvadoran communities, they have to come together. We need a united front of all the communities of the world, and they're right here in this country. And many of them have been forced to come to this country because of the military overthrows. And the conditions that the United States has created. One of those countries that the United States has supported military coups is in Turkey, because the United States was involved in the military regimes and supporting privatization of the telephone company and other resources in Turkey. And Mehmet is going to be speaking about that. Welcome, Mehmet.
Thank you. We are living a historical moment. The historical moment comes when capitalism is breaking up, when imperialism is breaking up, and the people of the world are standing up to this. We can see this in Brazil, in Peru, in Argentina, everywhere, Bolivia. That's the Latin America side, but around the world, other places too, people are saying enough is enough. And this is a death knell for the imperialists, for the capitalists. Turkey has been ruled by fascism at least the last 20 years, where any kind of opposition is faced with prison, with torture, and especially in 1980 when the United States staged a coup, more than 1 million people were tortured and raped. And this is still continuing. Any opposition faces death and torture. Turkey is in a unique position. It's in the Middle East. and it is the front face of US and NATO. The war that's going on in Ukraine is done with the participation of NATO countries and the EU. And the NATO country that's foremost in this is Turkey, allowing arms to go to make sure that the war continues for the US manufacturers. But Turkey itself is devastated, although it participates in wars in Iraq, in Syria, in Ukraine, and not only that, but in Africa now. It is the face of the US, but this doesn't come cheap. Turkey now is the narcotic hub of the Middle East. Even Colombia calls Turkey and tells Turkey about the cocaine that is being shipped to Turkey, and the Turkish government is not doing one single thing because it's the state that is importing the cocaine. It is nothing but corruption. Why? Because the US companies, the world's imperialist and capitalist corporations need to take their cut from it. Turkey does not have anything left because they privatized, from water to forests, to mountains, to schools, to communications, you name it, to ship ports. Everything has been privatized just to support the capitalist thieves. So your struggle in Peru is our struggle in Turkey. Until we get rid of the capitalists, until we get rid of the imperialists, until we have the people's rule in those countries and all over the world, our slogan is, no way but revolution. We have tried it all. The right and the left and the liberal and the neoliberal and the this and the that and the reformists and the all failed. One thing that is left, that is the revolution. And we say there is no solution until the revolution. Thank you all.
So this is the first of other actions that we're going to be having. We're not going to go away. We're going to be organizing until the massacres stop, until the United States is out of Peru and Latin America. Now also, we're going to be having a demonstration at Twitter. Do people know about Twitter and Elon Musk, that gangster who oppresses as a racist? He comes from South Africa. Actually, Elon Musk was born in South Africa, and his father had an emerald mine, and he exploited the people of South Africa. He came to the United States, and at Tesla, the black workers at Tesla say that it's like living in a plantation because of the way that they're treated, the racism at Tesla. And of course, he wants to go to Mars. And we're saying to Musk and the rest of the capitalists, go to Mars. Get the hell out of here and go to Mars. Leave the people of this world freedom so they don't have to be exploited. So there's going to be a rally at the Twitter headquarters on Market Street on February the 11th at 11 a.m. We want poetry, we want music, we want the stories of the people of the world, because Musk is not just about this country, he's about exploiting the people of the world.
Before we go, we would like to remember just a few of those who have fallen in the last 40 days to the hands of the dictatorship of Dina Boluarte and the right wing and the United States in Peru. I'm going to name just some of them, because people are dying as the hours pass. And I would like for all of us to respond with their presence, presente, because they are present in our hearts, they are present in our minds, they are with us. Irregardless that they have died, it doesn't matter. The people of Peru, of Latin America, of the United States, whenever remembers its death. It takes part on the story, on the struggle. It maintains it. It lives it. Roger Rolando Callos Acacac. Edgar Jorge Huaranca Choquehuanca, 22 años. Reinaldo Flaquita Cruz, 19 años. Marco Antonio Samillán Zanga, 31 años, médico internista. Yamilet Aroquipa Huanco, 17 años. Cristian Mamani Ganco, 22 años. Marco Antonio Samillán Zanca. Nelson Uber Pilop Condori, 21 años. Gabriel Omar López Amanqui, 35 años. For all those that have not been mentioned, but whose families and whose communities are enraged and sad and lost, for those, presente, carajo. Gracias.
Hands off Peru.
Hands off Peru.
Solidarity with the people and workers of Peru.
Solidarity for the people of Peru.
Victory to the people of Peru.
Victory